I'd like to talk about the separate self simply as a function of the brain, without using spiritual language which can sometimes be confusing or even obscuring. I hope that this straightforward explanation provides a different way of looking at the appearance of the separate self. So the left brain recognizes patterns. It categorizes. It tells a story. This is how we know the concept of past and future. It learns from the past to project possible future outcomes. The left brain is our language center. It's the voice in our head that creates a sense of self. It says, I am, which makes us separate. Because to be a self, you need the contrast of everything that's not the self. This is a world of abstraction. Our concepts, patterns, beliefs, and labels. The left brain can be thought of as the ego center. By comparison, the right brain is in the present moment. It sees the world holistically. This is where our compassion and intuition reside. This is how we experience being in the flow. It recognizes the interconnectedness of all things and sees the big picture. The right brain is how we experience unitive consciousness. The left brain is constantly collecting information to make patterns from it. In its effort to make sense of the world, the left brain can sometimes create patterns that aren't there. It uses this single point of perception together with our preferences, memories, beliefs, and judgments to create the pattern of a me. Because humans are visual creatures, sometimes seeing a representation can help us understand this in a more direct way. When you look at this image, your left brain is using incoming information to fill in the story of a triangle. There is no triangle. The left brain infers a pattern that is not actually there. This is a visual metaphor to show how the left brain uses internal and external information to imply a central character. The left brain extrapolates the self in the same way it infers the triangle. Both are suggested by incoming information, but there's no physical reality to them. Now look at the image again and think of the triangle as representing the pure emptiness that you are. There are still memories, beliefs, and conditioning around the periphery, but at our center, there is nothing. These phenomena will continue to appear, but their occurrence doesn't mean that there's an identity connected to them. It's just the left brain doing its thing. When we recognize that part of our brain creates a self as a byproduct of its basic evolutionary function, we don't hold it so tightly. We don't take it as seriously. This can create space around it that can alleviate our suffering. In the end, we see that the triangle is just part of the background. In this context, when the separate self appears, it's just part of awareness. It's not separate from awareness in the sense that nothing is separate from awareness. The separate self appears to be real, but it is only real in the moment it is being thought of. The self requires constant thinking to exist. Where are you when you're not thinking about yourself? How do you find yourself without thoughts, feelings, memories, and beliefs? Notice all the gaps in identity when there's no self present. If you're not here, then what's running the show? Trust in what's always here, always available. I hope this is helpful in looking at the identity, which is our main source of suffering, our source of separation, in a new light. The next time you feel caught up in identity, try thinking of it as just a normal function of the brain. We don't need to be in opposition to it. When the identity appears, it doesn't have to be a problem. We can relax. Can we find the stillness even when the separate self is here?